Okay. There's all kinds of things wrong with what you just did with that MP5. Not least of which, you didn't slap it? Hello, my name is Hunter, the movie reviewing horse, because when it comes to cinema, humans cannot be trusted. And I'm still in Scotland, much to the dismay of everyone who thought we were going back to the old office. Get in the same camp as the people who want me to go back to being made out of PNGs. Sonic the I refuse to go away. Hedgehog is back at it again. 34 years he's been going at this, and I have to tell you, he's exhausting. The games used to be good, but he's been bumbling his way through the video game industry for a while now. In fact, some people will claim Sonic was never good, like in the old days with Sonic 1 and 2 and Sonic 3, Sonic 06 and Sonic Unleashed, Sonic 4 and 5, Sonic 6, Sonic 7, Sonic 18 billion and 11, and so on. You get the idea. But then, plot twist, Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, wow, when people weren't hanging out in the Charl Garden, they would have realized that Sonic has a new friend, Shadow the I refuse to not be an edgelord Hedgehog. This was at risk of upsetting every single Sonic fan in the room. Embarrassing.
I'm going to destroy this damn planet. This is who I am.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there like, okay, I've heard about this, but the game can't actually be that cringy, right?
Death to all who oppose me! A Chaos Emerald? You've got to be kidding me, guys. This is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me. I am Shadow the Hedgehog. I, and only I, know what is best. No one can tell me what to do. This is who I am.
What the hell is wrong with you? Yes, this is what this franchise needs. Something for the angsty teenagers. We need the embodiment of darkness that swears as many times as we're allowed to get away with. You thought Knuckles saying "oh no" was funny?
Oh no.
Shadow says "damn it" every time he gets hit.
Damn it.
Yeah, this was the moment where we had to bring Sega and Sonic Team home because they were both drunk. And for a while there, a long while, a really long while, a really, really long while, they were still drunk. Even as Sonic moved to the big screen, Sega was still a little drunk here. And even now, in a few ways, they're still kind of drunk. But they're cleaning up their act, just in time for the new cinematic gold rush of video game adaptations. In a lot of ways, this is a clean slate, a fresh start for the Sonic franchise. Especially when Mario jumped to the big screen, it was kind of a mess. The Mario movie didn't have any story whatsoever. Chris Pratt as Mario was bad casting, just straight up. Yes, it made oodles and boodles of money, but guess what? Garbage can make money. In fact, it is actually a very common occurrence that garbage movies will make gobs and gobs of money. Do you need more examples? I am flashing 1,000 examples on screen. I rest my case. Mario absolutely mops the floor with Sonic any day of the week when it comes to video games, but with movies, I mean, they just announced the release date for the new movie, and I'm not getting my hopes up. I didn't really have my hopes up for this movie either. Okay, maybe I did. Just a little. Just a little. Sonic 3, Sonic 2, Sonic fucking 3, the third one, not the second one. Would you believe I didn't see any trailer for this movie? Because it's true. We also didn't have a trailer impressions, which probably should have given you a clue. They started putting those trailers out 4 months ago, but we kinda knew that they were working on this since the end of the last movie. And honestly, they were hinting at it in 2020. James Marsden confirmed that he had signed on for multiple sequels. One thing they didn't confirm, though, is that Keanu Reeves is here? Keanu fucking Reeves? And can I just say, I made that joke at the end of the last movie review, and I didn't think you were gonna make it canon. They were also able to confirm Jim Carrey is back for this movie, but that was up in the air for a while because we thought he was going into retirement. He said himself that they would have to present him with a script made of pure gold to get him to come back. And I can just imagine the writing team was sitting around like, how the hell are we gonna do that? To Jim Carrey's idiot.
Oh, that is the single greatest idea of all time.
Doubling down on Jim Carrey. Bold move, to be certain, but holy crap. This on top of, I finally get to review a movie with Keanu Reeves in it. I get that and Jim Carrey twice? I should be coming down harder on this. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't like Sonic the Hedgehog, and I never have. The only time I've actually sat down and played a Sonic game was when we were streaming it and making fun of it. Because Sonic Adventure 1 has extremely silly voice acting. But there's just something about the films that keeps working. Except the Knuckles show, that didn't really pan out, but the films keep working. It's an enigma, but I think I figured it out and we're gonna go over it today. And overall, there isn't much to report, actually. The marketing campaign for this was solid. Our director, Jim Fowler, was even joking about how Jim Carrey's 24-karat gold script cost him $100,000. I'll say it, this was kind of hype. This was actually a bit of a hype train of a marketing campaign. Even if I'm on this train for all the wrong reasons, it was still really hype. And let's be honest, it can't be any worse than the one for the first movie. Despite my overwhelming urge to absolutely rip these movies apart, Sonic the Hedgehog keeps getting away with it.
You can't keep getting away with it!
And I'm sorry to report he will continue to get away with it.
You can't keep getting away!
The Sonic cinematic universe seems to be following a very interesting line. It's one that I like to call video game development logic. Because in video game development, especially if you're making a trilogy, you go off a very simple system. In the first game, you make a video game. In the second game, you look at that first game and say, let's fix all of the things that people hated about the first one. And on the third game, you say, let's refine this. And that's what they did, which is very good, because between Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Shadow the Hedgehog, they didn't really do any of that. The games just seemed to go deeper and deeper down a rabbit hole, and by the third game, there was a lot of uncalled for swearing.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
The Sonic movies, however, have been steadily improving, which is why Sonic 3 looked at Sonic 1 and 2 and said, okay, how do we make this even better? Step 1, remove the side plot with Tom and Maddie. Nobody gives a shit about the side plot with Tom and Maddie. We have never lived down that boring wedding subplot in Hawaii from the second movie. When Tom and Maddie do become relevant in this movie, they immediately get roped into the Sonic plot, which is good because a Sonic movie should always be about Sonic. And the best part is, I think there was supposed to be a subplot with them, but they took it out and nothing of value was lost because the movie still works. The writers are actually learning from their mistakes instead of doubling down on it like Rey Skywalker from Star Wars. In other words, live and learn. Live and learn! They actually took the advice of one of their own songs. No more Goblin Sonic, no more boring wedding subplot in Hawaii, no more flossing. At least, I don't remember if there was any flossing in this movie. I'm pretty sure there wasn't. And if I can't remember if there was, then it must not have been upsetting enough for it to be relevant, so I guess it doesn't matter. What does matter is that they at least have the decency to joke about their shortcomings in the past. Like, the first thing they do with Shadow, or one of the first things he does after he beats the snot out of everybody, is they give him a gun and a motorcycle. 5 minutes later, he no longer had that gun or the motorcycle, so they didn't dwell on it. But they did take time to make fun of it. And then immediately after this, they started making fun of Chow Gardens. It's like, oh, you guys want the Chow Garden back? Oh, well, guess what? We blew it up. They blew it up in this movie. Also, it's a restaurant now. They did this all through the movie. It's like, oh, hey, you remember that bit in Sonic Adventure 2 where Eggman pissed on the moon? Well, guess what? We thought that was actually really funny, so he's still doing that.
I'm pissing on the moon!
Which is honestly one of the reasons why they probably were able to rope back Jim Carrey, playing our main man Robotnik. Dr. fucking Robotnik, and Eggman. 2 Robotniks, holy shit! Now, Jim Carrey said that he was going to retire and catch up on every episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. His words, not mine. But I think there's a number of things that kind of lured him back into this movie. For example, a couple of years back, he said he wanted to play a fat guy. So they gave him a whole scene dedicated to that. His coats, his Robotnik coats have been steadily getting better, and at the end of this movie, he has probably the best Robotnik coat to ever exist in any of these movies. Given that this is probably his last movie, they gave him one of the greatest send-offs of all time. And yes, alright, I've been dancing around it. Let's be honest, he probably read the part with the lasers and immediately said yes. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. I won't spoil it here, but it's one of the most glorious things I have ever seen in my entire life. And it's silly as shit, even if it took a really long time in the chair to pull that off. Okay, there's 2 Robotniks in this, but every time they have to switch over to his dad, it takes 3 hours in the chair to do that. That is dedication. It's that exact thing that made him almost quit the Grinch movie. And it was so worth it. So yeah, that kind of set the fans off. Another thing setting the fans off over here is Keanu Reeves. Keanu, you're breathtaking Reeves.
You're breathtaking!
Keanu is here coming hot off the heels of 4 John Wick movies, and a SpongeBob movie, and Cyberpunk, and Toy Story 4. So, clearly he's trying to make his career a bit more silly as well. Well, you're in the right place. Though I will say his role in John Wick makes him infinitely overqualified to play Shadow the Hedgehog, who, frankly, I'm pretty sure he has no idea how guns work. The MP5 isn't a pump action. You probably just broke it. The John Wick feel we get from Keanu, though, actually works pretty good for his character. Which leads to another thing, is that it's actually easier to follow his character in this than in the games. Remember when I said I think I figured it out? Well, here it is. For some reason, the story that they're drawing from in the games translates a lot better on film. Now, the games are terrible at conveying whatever story they were trying to tell. This is for a number of reasons. Really, really bad voice acting, convoluted storytelling, bits that were lost in translation, all of it. Just all of it. Now, the writers of this movie are coming in and trying to make the story more digestible and easy to follow. In the games, when Shadow the Hedgehog is talking about Maria, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay. In this movie, when Shadow the Hedgehog is talking about Maria, I'm like, oh, okay. This makes way more sense. And the reason it works is because the games were way too focused on trying to tell this story, and the movies were easily able to pick up the pieces, put them together, and actually make it easier to follow. The Sonic games have a very heavy emphasis on cinematics, but they don't know how to tell a story. Even a lot of Sonic's moves in the games are very heavily scripted, which often leads to game bugs because I don't think they know how to program. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the story, which they were very bad at telling. Like, for fuck's sake, Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, has 10 different endings. That's not even an exaggeration. That's in my notes. That game has 10 endings. Good luck finding the canon one. The people making the games clearly wanted to tell stories, but video games was not the correct avenue to tell those stories. And it kind of got to the point where it's like, if you want to make your game into a movie, just make a movie. And that's what they did. And I say that because this movie is clearly taking a lot of story beats and inspiration from Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. And I'm calling you out. I see what you're up to. You're not hiding it.
I'm making a call-out post on my Twitter.com.
And again, they're not really making any effort to hide this fact. And that might be okay. I know I said in the Sonic 2 review that that's not okay, but it might actually be okay, actually, so I think I need to retract that statement. And Sega is basically looking at those old games, and basically they're coming out and saying, okay, yeah, we're really bad at telling stories, but we got some Hollywood writers on this to try and tell it better, and it's working. When all of these story beats are condensed down to the length of a movie and we take out all the fluff, it actually works really well. This all culminates in a final act that is just made of pure awesome. Some really good life lessons, a bit where Sonic actually slows down and talks for once, an extremely good Robotnik send-off, and a totally sick modernized remix of Live and Learn. Hey, say what you will about how unfitting the Sonic soundtrack is. Some of these tracks are jamming, and they honestly work way better on the big screen. I'm surprised they haven't done more of these. And I can't believe I'm saying this. It all fits together into an actually surprisingly great movie. Honestly, if we're looking back, compared to this, the first movie was kind of a blah. The second movie was better, but this is like leaps ahead of that first movie. It goes back to what I said earlier, live and learn. Live and learn! Where's the bad stuff? Well, actually, it's everywhere. This isn't the perfect movie. For example, why is Sonic and Gun suddenly working together? What happened between movies? What did I miss? In the last movie, they literally staged the entire Hawaii wedding subplot to capture Sonic, and in this, they're working together. Like, immediately. There was no build-up to it. The helicopter shows up and it's like, we need your help. Is this just them apologizing for the boring wedding subplot? Well, no, wait, now the commander is dead and suddenly we're not working with Gun? We gotta keep the key to the ultimate weapon out of the hands of Gun. Motives here are never explained, and none of it really makes any sense. Keanu Reeves is kind of phoned in, too. They said Keanu Reeves was in this movie, and he only had maybe 15 lines. And in one of them, he's talking about guacamole. I mean, he doesn't swear in any of these lines, but he still doesn't say a lot.
Damn it! What does it all mean?
I'll tell you what it means. It means they lured us in with the name. Now, don't get me wrong. Keanu Reeves playing Shadow is leaps and bounds better than Jack Black playing Claptrap. Or Chris Pratt playing Mario, where he loses the Italian accent halfway through the movie and just gives up on it. Shadow's voice does fit. I just wish he had more to say. And on top of subplots that never really got added to the movie, there's a few that never really went anywhere. Like the whole Sonic team thing that they had going. There was like a big whole fight they were having, except they weren't really having a fight. This wasn't conveyed well. And I also have a few ethical concerns, like why does gun have the ultimate weapon? What's the point of this? It's a gun that literally destroys the world. Why do you need this? And actually, the US government experimented with that, but they used a bomb. It's true. That's a real thing. Look it up. Actually, it's worth the Google. They didn't build it, by the way. Ethical concerns aside, there really are a few points I should take away from this movie. There's a few consistency issues. Some of the jokes don't land well. There's a point where they just stop to have a conversation on the moon because Sonic can breathe in space all of a sudden? Like, what? You could have had this conversation anywhere. You had it on the moon. And there's a few gravitational concerns about you sawing the moon in half. But I don't think I need to come down on you about that. This is Sonic the Hedgehog, not Moonfall. There are a few concerns I do have, but none of them that really bring this movie down. Like, honestly, from the guy that only directed Go for Broke before this, he's honestly doing a really good job. My final verdict is a 7.5. Solid. Solid improvement. These movies are actually getting better with each new installment. Looking back, once again, the first movie was still kind of a blah. The second one was better. This is a solid movie, with a few specific writing and direction failures. But the problem now is we don't know where they're going to go from here. Yes, they've already announced Sonic 4. Yes, they had a post-credit scene with Amy and Metal Sonic, but it's Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm waiting for his inevitable screw-up. There have been brief periods where Sonic the Hedgehog was good again, and then they immediately went back to being bad. I don't know if the same thing is going to happen here, but for now, it's actually pretty good. The Sonic franchise actually, for once, has a good thing going here. Don't ruin it like you always do. You managed to take some, honestly, pretty subpar video games and spin them into something pretty dang good. And that's impressive. If you like the first two movies, you will like this one even better. If you like Sonic, you'll like this too. Trust me. This is one of the good ones. And finding good Sonic is an honestly pretty Herculean task, almost as Herculean as finding a bad Sonic movie. One day, Hedgehog. One day. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.